another shocking moment that caught me by surprise. I just couldn't believe what was going on, and really the pace that it was happening. Feels like everything was going at 100 miles per hour. Hello and welcome to my very first review. If you watched my video last week, firstly thank you, and you'll know that this episode is all about me watching The Godfather for the very first time. If you didn't see the video from last week, then no worries, I'll catch you up. I'm not a movie person at all. I just love watching binging TV series, preferably a crime drama. Over the years, over the years I've had comments here and there about not seeing the classic movies that have been made. So here we are. I decided to bite the bullet and watch them, and I thought, why not document the journey on here? Make a YouTube channel and just see what happens. Basically, all my reviews will drop at 6 p.m. UK time on a Sunday, so make sure you look out for the videos then. Also, I want to get you guys involved as much as possible, so put your suggestions in the comment sections down below for what movies I should be watching and reviewing, and let me know your thoughts on this movie as well in the comments. We'll try and make this as interactive as possible, so please do let me know your thoughts. Also, if you do enjoy the video, smash that like button so it helps spread the word and help grow the channel, and hit that subscribe button if you want to be, so you don't miss another video as well, and hit that notification bell so you know when a video goes live. What I'm going to do is rather give you my overall thoughts right now. I'm going to go through some of the scenes that caught my attention and give you some thoughts on them, and then at the end I'll give you my final thoughts on the movie as a whole. Also, I'm going to rate the movie out of 10, and maybe at some point in the future we can have some fun looking back at what rating I've been given the movies I've watched. And if you're like me and not watched the movie, then press that pause, go and watch it. It's on Netflix, and come back and then watch this. Seems like a fair deal. Don't let me spoil it for you, basically. Now all the admin's out the way, I think it's about time to get on with my thoughts on The Godfather. So here we go. My thoughts going into the movie was I didn't really know what to expect. On the one hand, it's an old movie now, it's released in 1972, and it's a gangster movie, not really into older movies and or gangster movies. So I made a tremendous decision starting with The Godfather, really. Should have started with something like The Smashing Machine. Maybe not. Maybe we'll get to that one day. Who knows? But anyway, my thoughts on The Godfather. The first scene was really intense. I won't lie. I was gripped after the scene, really. I just felt like I was just being drawn in right away. Straight away, everyone knew who the main guy is, and he was not to me best sweat, really. I really loved this opening scene with the Undertaker requesting the help of the Godfather. Pretty ironic that an Undertaker wants the Godfather to kill something. When you think about it, on one hand, it's one way to get some business, I suppose. Again, really love this opening scene. The intensity was there in spades, and it was a perfect way to introduce the main character. Next up, Luca Brasi was the next one to stand out with me. He was an early favourite, and we know he doesn't last long. Spoilers. Watching him practice sees what he wanted to say to the Godfather Vito was very funny to me. I thought he'd bring comedy to the film, but obviously, as I say, it doesn't last very long. So we'll talk about that more later on. But only good vibes at this moment, and this made me chuckle, which I didn't really expect in this type of film. So yeah, Luca Brasi, I liked him. Continuing at the wedding, and the old guy singing and his little dancing, brilliant. Just loved it. Also find someone that looks at Johnny Fontaine like those girls look at him. They were in love. It's just they weren't they? I was half expecting them to be chucking their knickers at them, but maybe they didn't do that in the early 40s. I don't know. Maybe it was around Elvis time that coming. But anyway, next up, Mike and Kay, like a sweet couple early on, maybe a little too sweet for this kind of life. Kay especially, I get the vibe early on that Mike kinda hasn't told her everything about the family business. And then we get kind of an early soft sex scene with Sonny. Seems a bit of a ladies' man with early vibes. Also, Vito, the Godfather, can cut some shapes, some very 40s, 50s, 60s style dancing in there. Looked like everyone was having a wonderful time, apart from that person who got his camera wrecked. But that's kind of his own fault for not knowing when not to take a photo. The first holy crap moment comes next. I really wanted to say the S word, but can't say it on here, so holy crap moment happens. It's when Tom tries to persuade the Hollywood bigwig to get Johnny Fontaine a big movie role, and he's turned down. There's some sort of barn in this Hollywood bigwig's place, and and you get shown his favourite horse, but sadly the horse doesn't last long. The bigwig also says no to Fontaine because of some personal beef, and in response, you see he's in bed basically, and the bed's just covered in blood, and then he opens the sheets, and the horse's head is at the bottom. Yeah. It, I said out loud Holy Shite, and it made me want to bolt. Yeah, it wasn't very pleasant at all, but I should have really expected something like that, but it caught me off guard. Don't feel like, don't really feel sorry for the bigwig. It was a bit of a knob. But poor horse, really, yeah. The horse didn't deserve that, surely. But, oh well, it's just a typical scene that should really be expected in this film, but did. Also, not really watching these films. Caught me off guard a wee bit. The next scene that caught my eye was the family all talking about going into the drug game. After seeing what after seeing what I saw over the years in these type of telly programs, I can see the younger generation toppling the Godfather, or should I say, trying to topple him because they think he's living in the past, and then they get into the drugs business to stay on top. Felt the intensity again in this scene. For me, a very, very good start to this film. And for me, it just gets better. The comedy relief in the film, as I said, didn't last long. Poor Luca gets stabbed at the hand and then choked to death after going on a mission to find out what the Solozos were working with the Tatagila crime family. I think that's how you say it. The Solozos were the ones to bring the drug deal to the family, and now they've taken out their heavy after being rejected, basically. And I will be saying that a lot in this video. I feel like, again, I didn't see this coming. Another very big moment that left me quite shocked, and again, not in a bad way, but a little bit gutted that Luca didn't last long. I felt he could have brought some comic relief to it, but hey, well, his time was up. The shocks just keep on coming and get even bigger. Vito goes to buy some fruit, and then when he's about to get in his car, he's gunned down in the street. This was another shocking moment that caught me by surprise. I just couldn't believe what was going on, and really the pace that it was happening. Feels like everything was going at 100 miles per hour, and I'm not really sure at this point if Vito was alive or dead. He was shot 5 times all over the body, and you would think that would be enough to put anyone away for good, but it would seem very early to kill off the main character. It would certainly be brave and a bold move by the writers of the movie. What a stunning moment, really, and just couldn't believe what happened again for the millionth time. I didn't see it coming. You could probably keep a count of those. I didn't see it coming throughout the video. There's quite a lot of them. So many twists and turns so far. Certainly understand already why this movie is regarded as one of the best of all time. It's been pretty exceptional so far, I must say. And yeah, obviously it does survive for now. The next scene that caught my attention was when Mike was outside the hospital when the cops arrived, and then the Crip cop Captain McCluskey threw a punch at Mike, and we later found out that he broke his jaw. The family show up, and it was quite a standoff, but certainly an intense encounter. Pretty simple scene, really, but I really enjoyed it actually. You instantly knew that McCluskey was corrupt and that he might not last long for that reason. That kind of what happens. Yeah, didn't last long at all. Hope that actor wasn't get that played him wasn't getting paid by the scene anyway. Mike arranges to beat McCluskey and Sozolo in a local restaurant. Mike shoots them both in the head to avenge the shooting of his father. Another very intense scene. The word of the video was certainly intense. Initially thought he'd bottled it when he didn't shoot him when he first came out of the bathroom, but ended up sitting down and doing it. I did think Sazolo and McCluskey weren't going to keep their word at first when it did look like they might not be taking him to that restaurant even, but obviously they did. Uh, for the brief spell he was in the movie, I did enjoy the McCluskey character. Bit of a shame he didn't feature more. Thought he could have played a bigger role, but that's just my personal preference. Who am I to tell who's written what's considered one of the best movies of time, how to write his movie, and what characters should or should not be in it? But hey, that's just personal preference. At this stage of the movie, I was starting to dislike Sonny a little bit more and more. To me, this seems like a person who basically brought down a peg or two. I don't really know what are your thoughts on them. Let me know. Just to me, he seemed like a classic case of wanting everything and not really getting everything he wanted. Certainly seems not the one to take over the family empire. Far too hot-headed and maybe spoilt's not the right word, but it's kind of along those lines. Speaking of Sonny being hot-headed, and this time I don't actually blame him, he goes after his brother-in-law Carlo after he finds out he puts his hands on his sister. He batters him across the street and leaves him under a broken water hydrant. And yeah, totally deserved. Carlo is a piece of work, and yeah, we'll get on to him later in more detail. Felt like at this point in the movie when Mike goes to Italy to lie low, the movie slowed down a little bit in speed and lost a little bit of momentum. It's not a criticism, it's totally understandable. If it had been a 3 hour movie, absolutely impossible to keep that drama and intensity up for the duration of the movie. Yeah, I just felt it lost a bit at this point in the movie and just felt things were developing pretty quickly between Mike and the Italian woman and very quickly becoming his wife. They got married, but not really sure how long since they met or when they got married. The time of the event seemed a little unclear in this part. The Italian girl does look nice, and I don't blame him for marrying her, even if it was just for staying there to lay low for the double killing. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I have. Absolutely horrible scene coming up. Carlo and Connie exchange blows while Carlo knocking Connie around after they have an argument. Very hard to watch, very disturbing. You have to think it might have been the norm for women suffering domestic abuse in those days. I know it still goes on, but at least there's more of a chance of it getting reported and something being done about it. Maybe it wasn't taken as seriously if it was reported back then. Uh, but the complaint was made to Sonny rather than the authorities, as you could imagine with this type of family. And he was on his way to sort out Carlo, and you would imagine if he made it, Carlo would have been dead. But the intensity was about to come back into the movie with an absolute vengeance. Get your counter ready because this was another thing I didn't see coming. Sonny on his way to sort out Carlo when he was absolutely brutally gunned down. He was shot time and time again from head to toe, given absolutely no chance of survival. A total brutal way to go, and another really shocking moment. You expect a lot of death in this type of movie, obviously, but you don't expect one of the main characters to be killed off in that manner. Well, maybe, I don't know. Obviously, first time watching it, so you tell me. Maybe that's me being naive and not watching this type of genre movie. As I said earlier, I wasn't a big fan of Sonny as a character, but felt wasn't really didn't really expect him to go like that. But I thought he might be a big part of the bigger picture towards the end of the movie. Clearly not. But yeah, just in a completely shocking moment, I just left gobsmacked. Like another holy shite moment. And yeah, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. The twists and turns keep on coming when Mike is getting ready to return to America and after the death of his brother even. He was been teaching his wife to drive and she gets in the car to show him off some new skills and then the car blows up and she's blown into a million different pieces. Another holy crap moment, but at this time, obviously the shite word that I can't say on YouTube. Just unbelievable twists and turns again in this one. Again, naivety, maybe I thought Mike was completely safe in Italy, but we got kind of a couple of wee clues, but obviously he wasn't. But after this bit, it starts to get a wee bit confusing for me. Let me know your thoughts. The timeline seems to be get a bit all over the place. Next we see Mike tracking down Kay back in America after basically when he left without telling anything after the executions at the restaurant. Seems like it's at least a year and a bit after the car bomb that killed his Italian wife. Mike now wants to marry Kay despite not seeing each other for a long time. And yeah, it just seemed all a wee bit confusing. Like I just kind of jumped without much explanation. Like not even like something coming up on the screen saying a year and a bit later. But yeah, and also Mike must just have a thing for quickfire weddings. Each to their own. In another instance of that jumping in the timeline, Mike is now the head of the family. It seems a bit of a leap, with Vito being the head of the family, wanting peace. I didn't really talk about this scene, but there was a scene where Vito and the rest of the heads of the crime families were basically. This was after Sonny being gunned down. He was wanting lasting peace. He was fed up of the war that had erupted, and I don't know. It just felt like a bit of a leap from that to now this, where Mike's the head of the family, and it just felt like a big part of the story there was left out. I get it's a movie, you can't tell every arc of the story. Maybe that's what I'm too ingrained in a TV show where every arc of that story could be told over a certain amount of episodes. Uh, but yeah, that's maybe just me. That's maybe my issue rather than the film's issue. But yeah, I just felt like there was a big leap and not much explanation to it. Would have liked to seen Mike make his way there, but again, maybe asking a bit too much for a movie that's already 3 hours long. Yeah, it just seemed like a bit of a leap from last time we seen Mike was his wife getting blown to bits, and now he's asking Katie to marry him, and now he's head of the family. One scene I did enjoy with Mike getting into the role was the scene in Vegas. It looked like Mike was growing into the role as the Godfather and becoming more confident. Again, just seems a wee bit rushed to the rest of the story that's been told. Is it just me that feels like that? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know how you feel like it played out. Was it a bit too rushed? Was it a bit too quick? Was it a bit too in your face? Or was it right? Was it the right thing to do? And to solidify my point a wee bit here, with another jump in the timeline without really much, any explanation, Mike and Kay now have a young child, and it all seems good with Kay. Last time we seen these two together, Mike was begging Kay to take him back after disappearing for ages. It just seems a bit odd. It just seems like they had an end goal of wanting to get Mike, especially to be the Godfather, but didn't really spend enough time in the beginning of the movie building him up towards that. Just felt like he was there, type of thing. Uh, I feel like I'm nitpicking at stuff just because I'm a TV person. Yeah, I'm no, I'm a bit conflicted on it, to be honest. And then poor Vito, he has a heart attack while playing with his grandson in the garden. A really sad way to go, really. Was it fitting way to go for the Godfather? We were getting told that he was ill at the time, and that basically that's why Mike was taking over the family business. Just, it just felt a little anticlimactic for me to die of a heart attack, given how he was shot like 5 times earlier in the movie, and somehow managed to survive. I don't, again, I feel a bit conflicted on this one. I think I would have preferred him to go down fighting or something like that. Suppose you could argue that no one could bring him down, and that it was a heart attack that had to bring him down. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. But let me know your thoughts. A wee bit conflicted for me. It was a bit anticlimactic, but I could understand you don't want anybody else taking him out. You want natural causes and stuff like that to take him out. And just when you thought you could put the didn't see it coming counter away, nope, nope, nope. Just just because I had a bit of a moan recently, it's made a return. All the heads of the crime families getting gunned down while Mike's at the baptism of his niece was just another wow. A really great scene, loved it. Yeah, and yes, didn't see it coming. Excellent scene, full of drama, great music to go along with it as well, and just absolutely brilliant. Just totally fit the music, not the music, fit the movie really well. Just Mike totally emotionless at the baptism and the shots, the hits, sorry, just happening. Amazing. Another intense scene between Mike and Carlo. This is when it's revealed Carlo is working against the family. Doesn't surprise me one bit. Never liked him. Carlo gets choked to death in the end, and it's a fitting ending for him, really. He got what he deserved. Carlo's wife, Mike's sister, is in hysterics, accusing Mike of murdering her husband. With Kay in the room, when she leaves, Mike tells Kay he didn't order the killing, which is obviously a lie. Uh, and like I said at the very beginning, Kay is far too naive for this world. But maybe you need to be in her role. Who knows? Mike gets the Godfather monarch, so to speak, at the end of the movie. Some turnaround for the character from being in the army suit at the wedding, taking a back seat in almost the first hour of the movie, to now finishing it as the Godfather. Certainly didn't expect the movie to go in that direction. I thought it'd all be about Vito, and there's your last counter. Didn't see that coming. Feel free to tally those up. And yeah, now on to some final thoughts on the movie and what I'll give it out of 10. Overall, absolutely one great movie. There's just so many wild moments. I don't know what else to call them, to be honest. Just moments you didn't expect to happen. I don't know if anyone else like this, but I sometimes try and play the story out in my head as to what I think will happen next. I don't think I could predict anything where this story went. I don't think I got any predictions right on that. Just loved all the twists and turns, and probably the thing I loved the most was just the intensity of it. Like it was just super intense the whole time. Well, I would say 90% of the time. Some of the scenes even just felt like I was just getting drawn in, like just moving closer and closer to the screen. Love it when a film or TV show does that. For me, it wasn't perfect. I think the last hour of the film does come down a little bit in quality and intensity, but obviously still has its moments in that last hour. But I feel after Sunny and Skill that takes a pretty notable dip. To me, it's just hard to keep. I don't want to go over it again, but it was just hard to keep up with it. As I said earlier, over like a 12 episode TV show or something, you could tell that story fully, where it just felt to me rushed and untold, for lack of a better term. Uh, but as I said, this is me nitpicking at its finest, and it doesn't affect the overall quality or entertainment of the movie, if you know what I mean. Overall, this was a great movie, and I understand why a lot of people hold it in high regard as one of the best. It was very enjoyable to watch. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I done it first on this channel. And also at some point down the line, I'm going to have to watch the second and third movies. But I might leave that for a wee while. Do some other movies and then come back. Yeah. Out of 10, I'm going to give this an 8.5. I think it was close to being a 9 or even a 10 out of 10. I think if it was certainly that first hour's a 10 out of 10. The second hour, 9 out of 10, and then the last hour dips. Uh, that last hour's issue that's bringing down the rating. Still a very high rating if you ask me. But what's your rating of The Godfather? Let me know in the comments. And that's all from me. That's my first review done. So, uh, yeah, sorry if I sound a bit nervous. It's not used to being on a camera. But I've watched The Godfather now. I've reacted to it and I've rated it. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, as it helps push the video out to as many people as possible. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Comment your thoughts on the movie as well, and whatever movie you want to see me review or watch. And yeah, next week there'll be a new movie, and it will be Jaws. So look out for that next week, 6 p.m. I'll see you there.